So this is going to be attempt 2 to try and talk about how to figure out parallel lines and perpendicular lines. And we're going to work on this, just quickly going through this. Just parallel lines, the slopes are always going to be the same in parallel lines. And for perpendicular lines, the slopes are going to be the negative reciprocal. If you have two slopes, for example, 1/3, the negative reciprocal is going to be -3/1, or just -3. This line and this line, if they have slopes, if they're in linear form, then basically they are perpendicular. So let's move on here quickly. Write an equation of the line that passes through 2, 6 and is parallel to the line y equals -x plus 2. Well, we know the slope is going to be -1 because that's what that negative sign in front there means. So if we look here, it's going to be y is equal to -x, but we don't know what the value of b is. They're not the same line. They have a different y-intercept, but they are parallel. So I'm going to write that down as plus b. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this point and substitute it in there, and I end up with 6 is equal to -2 plus b. Then I add 2 to both sides. I end up with 8 is equal to b. And now I can write my equation. It's going to be y equals to the same slope, because it's -1, because it's -1/1. We just don't list it there, plus 8. And that goes through that point. So in terms of these other ones here, we did this one in class. We've already done a couple of these, but let's just try one more here. Let's try this one here. So again, a line that passes through, it's parallel, so the slope is going to be -2. So it's going to be y equals -2x plus b. We're just trying to figure out what that value is because we know it's parallel. And now we're substituting in these points. So -4 is equal to -2 times -3. So that's going to be 6 plus b. Subtract 6 from both sides, you get -10 is equal to b. Now I can write a line equation. It's going to be y is equal to -2x minus 10. And that's it. Okay, determine whether the following lines are parallel, if any are parallel or perpendicular. We did this one in class. We'll just quickly look at it again. Remember, you don't have to worry about these y-intercept values, because if they cross, they cross, and where they cross, they will either be perpendicular or not perpendicular, or they will be parallel. And it doesn't matter where they cross; they're still going to, if they meet the qualifications for a perpendicular line in terms of the negative reciprocal slope, then it doesn't matter what the y-intercept is. And if they are parallel, it doesn't matter what the y-intercept is, because they're going to remain parallel the whole way. It's just like the graph is shifted up. So for this one here, just got to rearrange it. I'm going to bounce over the -3x, so that I'm -12y is equal to 3x. So my slope is then going to be divided both sides by -12. What I end up with is y is equal to -3/12x, and that's equal to -1/4 x. So now I'm going to do it with this line here, same thing. I'm going to bounce the x over, so it's now going to be 4y is equal to -x. Y is equal to -1/4 x, because I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So I've got my slopes, and I've got my final slope there. It's already listed as 4. So line A is going to be actually parallel to line B, because if you look here, the reason why I know that is that I've got the slopes here. That is line B slope, and this is line A slope. So they're parallel. Remember, this symbol here means parallel. And then when I look at this equation here, that's the -4 is the negative reciprocal of -1/4, because 4/1, the negative reciprocal is going to be a negative sign, and then -1/4. Remember, reciprocal means just flip the fraction. So A is going to be perpendicular to C, and B is going to be perpendicular to C also. So that's how it works in terms of those sort of problems. Again, same thing here. All I'm going to do is get rid of this part here. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what that value is. I'm just going to move these over. So I have 6y is equal to negative 2x. Divide both sides by 6. I end up with y is equal to negative 2 6x. So that's equal to negative 1/3 x. So I'm just simplifying here. So now I've got the slope is 3 for that line. And so if I wanted to, I could write down, well, I know A is perpendicular. That's what that symbol means again. To B, because 3 is the negative reciprocal of negative 1/3. So remember, 3 is just 3 over 1. So now I just need to figure out this point here. Negative 1.5. If I have this, I'm going to bounce over that 4.5. And so I have negative 1.5 y is equal to negative 4.5x. When I divide both sides by negative 1.5, I end up with y is equal to 3x. And then I look again, I compare it to these other slopes. So the slope for line A is going to be negative 1/3. Slope for line B is going to be 3. Slope for line C is going to be 3. So B is parallel to C, and C is perpendicular to A, because it's the negative reciprocal again. So really, key understanding is this idea of figuring out if the slope value is the same, if you have y equals 3x plus 5, you should be able to automatically recognize that that is parallel to this equation here because they have the same slope. And then also you should be able to, just with a little bit of math, you should be able to recognize that y equals 3x plus 5 is going to be perpendicular to negative 1/3 x plus 5, because there it's the negative reciprocal. So hopefully this makes sense, and good luck on the homework. Check the problems to make sure it makes sense.